Can the Bucks get the fourth seed in the East and win a playoff series? I think yes, I think they can. First, I want to start off with Giannis. Obviously, he's not going to be making a huge jump. It's very hard for a player of his caliber to make a huge jump. I think his defense is going to be improved under Mike Budenholzer. I'll talk more about Bud later towards the end of the video. I think Giannis should become a pretty legitimate MVP candidate. Probably not top five, maybe around the seven spot in voting. I think that's pretty realistic. I also want to talk about losing Jabari Parker. Jabari only played 31 games last season, around 800 minutes. And while he was pretty good, I mean, he was a good scorer. He wasn't a good defender. He really wasn't the right fit around Giannis. You look at Chris Middleton with, his, fantastic shooting and great defense. Middleton is a great fit around Giannis. Jabari is not so much, and they replaced him with Ersan Ilyasova. While I don't really like Ersan's contract, I think it's about a year or two too long. I do think Ursan's going to be a good fit next to Jabari, or next to Giannis, I should say. Obviously, Ursan's not as good as Jabari, but he does provide the better shooting, actually, that Jabari did. He just isn't able to create his own shot like Jabari, which shouldn't be too much of an issue. It's not going to be, obviously, they're going to be worse with Ilyasova than Jabari, but not too much worse. They also signed Brook Lopez. I think that's a pretty good signing. I think Lopez next to Giannis, another guy that really, pretty good fit on offense. He's got the ability to shoot 37%, 38% from three. The a big problem with him is rebounding, and a big problem with the Bucks in general is going to be rebounding. Giannis is a fantastic rebounder. He got like 10 rebounds a game last year, but Ilyasova is not a good rebounder. He gets like 5 a game, and Brook is somehow even worse. He got 4 last year in LA, and with the Nets, he was getting around 6 a game. Their rebounding should be probably towards the bottom 10 of the league. Giannis should be able to get a lot of rebounds, but if he's out on the perimeter, you can't really expect him to just run into the paint, grab rebounds over, say, Rudy Gobert. That's not going to really be something he's tasked to do. I also want to talk about their young guys getting better, specifically Thon Maker. They really don't have much young talent on the team. It's really Maker. You can even include Malcolm Brogdon, although he's already 25 years old. Sterling Brown and DJ Wilson. Brown and Wilson both played like 750, 800 minutes last season, and they were pretty bad. Not gonna lie, I think they should develop into not good bench players, maybe not average bench players, actually, probably below average bench players, maybe bad bench players, which is a step up from last year at least. But I also Brogdon I'll touch upon a little bit. He's not bad. He's a good bench player. He's just got to get more athletic, which I don't really know if he's gonna be able to do. Now I want to get to Thon Maker. Kevin Garnett said that Thon Maker has the potential to be an MVP. I think that's ridiculous. I never want to count out someone's potential, but I kind of do want to count out his potential in this case. I like Maker. I think he has great potential, his ability to shoot threes, play good defense, and rebound relatively well. I mean, he's a prototypical, modern day center. He fits very well next to Giannis. He's just not good anymore, or not anymore. He's not good at this point. His rookie season, he had a good rookie season, very promising. His sophomore season, 2018, not as good. He had a down year. He stepped it up in the playoffs, which was an encouraging sign, but he shouldn't really. I think he will take a big leap, and I think that also should be credited to Mike Budenholzer. He's one of the better player development coaches. Again, I'll get to him later. I also want to talk about Chris Middleton for a little bit. 2017, he shot like 39% from three. 2018, he shot like 35% from three. He's a good three-point shooter. He'll probably shoot around 38% this year, so that'll be something that gets a little better with the Bucks. I also want to talk about their bench getting better. Their bench last year was horrible. The best players were Malcolm Brogdon, Matthew Dellavedova, Jason Terry, and maybe Tyler Zeller, which not good. Pretty bad bench. This year they made some major upgrades, specifically drafting Dante DiVincenzo. I liked that selection. I think he's going to help their bench a lot. Of course, signing Brook Lopez means that Henson now gets put on the bench, and he's going to be a solid bench guy. So now they have Brogdon, DiVincenzo, John Henson, who should be good bench players. This is assuming Tony Snell starts over Brogdon, which he did last season, so I do think he'll do that in 2019. Now I want to talk on Mike Budenholzer. He was easily their biggest acquisition in the offseason. Signing Brook Lopez, signing Ilyasova, those were good things. Drafting DiVincenzo, that was good. Signing Mike Budenholzer away from the Hawks. Well, not away from the Hawks. The Hawks and him mutually agreed to part ways, and signing Budenholzer was a fantastic move for the Bucks. Budenholzer, one of the better coaches in the league, definitely top 15. I'd probably put him top 10, mainly for his defense and player development, and those are two things that the Bucks desperately need. The Bucks defense was 19th. They were 19th in defensive rating last year, despite having, you know, long guys like Giannis, like Chris Middleton, even like John Henson, who should be good defenders, however, just aren't, because probably because Jason Kidd and Joe Prunty are pretty awful coaches. They're also speaking on player development. He was the guy. Budenholzer was the guy that turned Dennis Schroeder, I believe the 19th pick, into a 20-point per game scorer, which is pretty good. He's also one of his previous assistant coaches, Kenny Atkinson, of course now the head coach of the Nets. Turning Rondae Hollis Jefferson, late first round pick, into a quality backup guy on a good team. Should be starting for the Nets this upcoming season, or at least playing a lot of minutes off the bench. I think Bood should. I don't think their defense is going to immediately become top 5 in the league. I think it has potential to be a top 8 defense. I don't think it will be. I don't think in his first season he's going to turn this team into a great defensive team. But I think it will be top 15, even though Ilyasova is probably a worse defender than Jabari, which isn't good, and Brooks not that good of a defender. I mean, he's a quality rim protector, an underrated rim protector, but he's just not that great on defense in general. I still think they'll definitely be top 15. I think around the 13th best defense is reasonable for them. And now I want to talk about best, worst, and realistic case scenarios for the Bucks. I think at best they get the 4th seed. At this point, I think the top 3 seeds are locks, with the Celtics, Raptors, and Sixers, especially after seeing Markelle Fultz play in the preseason. He's looking much more confident, which is huge. He's taking jump shots. He made his jump shots. He made a pull-up mid. He made a catch-and-shoot 3. Both very, very, very encouraging signs. And him, with his development, especially with his jumper, should get the Sixers to the 3 seed at least. I don't think they'll get any higher, but they definitely could. Definitely have the potential to. So I think the best case scenario for the Bucks is the 4th seed. And as a worst case scenario, I'm going to go the 6th seed, but I don't think they're going to get the 6th seed. Obviously, I spoke upon it in the Wizards video. I think the Wizards have probably the 3rd or the 4th, maybe even the 3rd most talent in the East. And I think if everything goes right for the Wizards, big if, they could get the 4th seed, probably. I don't think they'll finish higher than the Sixers. And also the Pacers, they made some good free agency signings. Tyreek Evans, going to be a great 6th man for them unless he starts over Bogdanovich or Darren Collison. I don't think he will. They drafted Aaron Holiday, pretty NBA ready guy. I think he'll be pretty good. And they signed Doug McDermott. He's solid, great shooter, great shooter. Not that good at anything else. They also signed Kyle O'Quinn to be their backup center. I think that was a good signing as well. So I think it is realistic for the Pacers to finish ahead of the Bucks. Now, as for a realistic case scenario, I have them as the 4 seed. I think people are kind of underrating the signing of Mike Budenholzer. Maybe not so much that they don't think Bud is a good coach. I think it's more that they just think Jason Kidd and Joe Prunty were, not horrible coaches, just bad coaches. When in reality, Jason Kidd's a horrible coach. He shouldn't be a coach in the league, and he isn't. Joe Prunty also shouldn't be a coach in the league, and he isn't as well. I'd be surprised if either of them get coaching jobs after the season. Going from that to Bud is just such a huge difference. That's why I think they're going to get the 4th seed. Leave a comment down below where you think they end up in the regular season amongst the Eastern Conference, and do you think Giannis Antetokounmpo will have an MVP season?